Hi guys, welcome to 3D Thursday. This is Stephanie with Stephanie Stampers. Today we will be making a suitcase box that will fit a fun treat. Alright, so you're going to want to use your scoring board and score 2 pieces of cardstock. Any color will do. You're going to score each side of a 7" by 5 7" piece of cardstock at the 1 3/8 inch mark. On the second piece, make sure you use a shim. It will help make sure that lid goes on to the box the right way. After you score your paper, go ahead and fold it on all of the score lines. You'll notice on one of them I put a sticky note that says top. That helps me know which one I used the shim on. Then you're going to cut on the short edge up to the intersection and then cut a little wedge off of that short flap. That'll help the box fold together better. And you'll do that on all 4 of the little flaps. Alright, after you've cut everything, you'll use an adhesive. I use Stampin' Up, and you'll put that on all of the flaps. I was struggling. I kept hitting my thumb and not lifting it right. It was a sticky mess, but it was fun. After you have your adhesive on, go ahead and fold in your little flaps and make sure that the flat edge of the long flap is lined up. On the top, you're going to want to punch some finger holes. I used a 1" punch. You can use any size. That just helps you get the box top off later. After you fold all of your flaps down, just take your bone folder and give the inside a good just little rub just to make sure everything is adhered nice and tightly. And put your box together. So I use the World of Good DSP, and I have a strip that is 4 1/4 inches wide and 10 inches long. And I just wrap this around the box to get a good fit on the box. After I wrap it around the box, I took it and I used my bone folder and made those creases nice and crisp just so that it looks square. After you fold it, just make sure you know where you want to put your adhesive. It'll go on the inside part. Run some adhesive along one end, and then you'll wrap it around your box again to get that nice tight snug fit. So the next thing I did is I took some faux suede ribbon and wrapped it around my box to get my length. It's about 10 inches long, and I'm going to need 2 strips of it, so I just went ahead and measured it all out together and cut it down. And then for an added flair on the box, I cut an angled bit off of one end. I used my Tombow liquid glue, just put a thin strip down the middle of the ribbon and used that to stick the ribbon to the box. It's a lot less messy than trying to use the Stampin' Seal, but the Stampin' Seal also works really well. So once that glue's on, just line it up on the box where you want it and slowly turn it. But with the glue, you can move it slightly to get the right fit on your box. You don't want to glue everything because we're going to add an embellishment from the antiques, corners, and slides elements that are part of the World of Good suite. So now I'm going to slide those buckles on to the ribbon. And I'll use a glue dot to stick the bottom of the ribbon onto the top of the ribbon that's glued down onto the box. So I take my ribbon to my glue dot because it's a lot easier to manage the glue dots. Okay, for the handle, I just have a 1/2 inch by 4.5 inch strip of cardstock. I use my bone folder to round that out and use glue dots on the ends to stick it onto the box. And then I used the Antiques Corners elements to just add some flair to the top. You could also use buttons if you have buttons. For this next part, you're going to need 4 1-inch circles. You'll just fold them in half one way and then cut them in half going the other way. That way you've got a folded half circle, and you need 4 of those because we're going to put a half circle on each of the corners, both front and back. I used my liquid glue again because it gave me some wiggle room. I kept sticking my fingers in it and it kept sliding everywhere, but that way you can adjust the circles where you need them, and it gives it that old school, old-timey look and feel to the project. You could be done now, it looks pretty cute, but I decided I wanted to add a tag to the front. I used very vanilla cardstock and punched with the timeless label and just stamped a sentiment on there with early espresso. And then I had another tag punched out in early espresso cardstock, and I cut that in half and then adhered each half to the back of the very vanilla piece to make like a shadow effect on it. And then I stuck some dimensionals on the back just so that it pops up on the suitcase. Removed the backing and then placed it on the project where I wanted to see it, pressed it down, and there it is. So this box will hold 6 Ferrero Rocher chocolates. You can use whatever DSP and cardstock you want. Here are some examples, and it's a fun treat to hand out. I used this as a thank you gift on a cruise I went on a couple years ago. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to follow me on my blog and on Facebook. I'm also on Pinterest and Instagram. You can buy all of the supplies on my website as well. See you next time.